G'day guys, Simo here, just out at Tullarook State Park, and thought I'd share with you what I take on a multi-day adventure. Here's old Buttercup with everything I pack whenever I go away on a trip. Let's get unpacking and I'll show you exactly what we take. The chair I bring is a Mountain Designs hiking chair. It's my first luxury item, but at the end of a long day of riding, you don't want to be sitting on a rock or a tree stump. It's nice to have something with a bit of back support. The tent I use is a Kathmandu mono. I picked this up on sale at half price, and I thought when I bought it, a one-man tent would be perfect. Won't take up much room, I don't need to put much stuff in it. And although for dry weather it's perfect, as soon as you get a bit of rain and you want to try and get all your gear inside the tent out of the weather, it starts to get very, very cramped. As you can see, even with only my sleeping gear inside, it's already starting to get cramped. If you start adding your boots and jacket and all the other stuff to try and get out of the rain, it's just too small. So the sleeping bag I use is another Kathmandu special. I picked this one up half price as well. It's got a comfort rating of 5 degrees, transition of 0 and a extreme of -10. I've used this sleeping bag in this tent in up to -2 degrees, and that was at the point where I was getting a bit too cold. The sleeping mat I use is a Cedar Summit Everlight XT. Now this is a large one which fills up pretty much the entire tent from bottom to top, which I like because I can't roll off the mat. When you're packing up your tent, a lot of people get stuck with the idea that you've got to put the poles and the pegs and everything into a bundle, roll it all up and try and stuff it back into the bag. The trick with packing your tent up nice and tight is you want to pack all the fabrics up together and you want to fold them and roll them up into the right size for your bags. And then your poles and pegs you can just stuff in anywhere once you're done. In terms of clothing, I usually try and take 2 sets of clothes. So one I wear on the bike and I'll wear that from home, and another set I'll keep clean and use that around the campsite. So I've got a couple of camp shoes or sandals. I used to use thongs, but I found that whenever I was in the rivers or walking around, they kept coming off my feet. So now I've got a couple of sandals which are waterproof, so you can go in the water with them. I've got a nice down jacket which packs up nice and light, keeps me nice and warm, because sometimes the nights can get pretty cold up in the mountains. I take 2 pairs of jocks, 2 pairs of socks, a shirt and some pants which zip off, which I can wear around the campsite, and then a pair of thermals which I can either wear under my motorbike gear or I'll wear them to bed as well to keep me warm. And I carry them all in that blue bag that's underneath them. That's a waterproof bag, so it goes in the bottom of my packs and make sure that no water gets in and gets all my nice clean clothes wet. In terms of cooking stuff, this does everything I need. I've got a little esky bag, which is just a cheap little number to keep all my food and drinks cold that I want to take. Put all my food in that. I've got a little gas cooker. Now that gas bottle is something I'm trying to use up. I bought that for my first trip, and 5 years later it's still going. Now I just buy the small little jet boil ones. I've got a couple of pots for boiling water and cooking stews and whatnot. I've got a frying pan, which is nothing spectacular. It's just a cheap $8 one I picked up from the supermarket. Took off the handle. I've got a pair of spedonicles for grabbing my fry pan, grabbing my pots, anything like that. And then a little coffee plunger, which I use for all my coffee. The coffee goes in the bottom, just twists off. You can keep all your coffee grinds there. Then you just make the coffee in there. So next in goes all my cooking gear, because usually I want to be able to access that pretty quickly when we stop and I want some lunch or whatever. So that all goes in. Just at the top there. So that's this side all packed. It's got all my clothes down the bottom and all my cooking gear just above it. And usually I'll pack all my food on top of that again. With my tools and spare parts, I try and take a spare tube for the front and back of my bike, a little hand pump, a couple of spare straps. We've had a few incidents where straps are broken or bags are broken, and they've been essential to try and get your bags home. A couple of little patch kits for my bedding in my tent, and then I've got a little tool set. So I've got a little socket set here. It's pretty much got all your extensions and all your sockets up to 13mm, plus Allen keys and Phillips head screwdrivers and torque bits. Pretty much everything I need and I've used to work on my bikes. And then in here I've got all my other bits and pieces that have come off the bike's factory toolkit. I keep a puncture repair kit in case I go through too many tubes, a pair of a Leatherman set of pliers, and a whole heap of other tools. Pretty much I want to be able to do any servicing or any work on my bike with the tools that I carry on a trip, and to make it as light as possible. If I can't do the job with these tools, it means the job's not worth doing on the side of the track. So all my tools and spare tubes, pump, all my straps, all the stuff that I need to be able to get out. On my bags I've got these two little tool bags at the back of them. So I just pop them all in there. That way, if anything goes wrong or I need to work on a bike, I don't have to unpack everything to get them out. So the idea is to keep them nice and easily accessible, so that when you're on the track and you need to do some maintenance, you can grab them out without too much fuss. So all my camera gear and toiletries and spare gloves, they all go up the front here, along with any loose chains or any muesli bars or any snacks or anything I want on the trip. On my back I have a hydration pack. It's a 3-litre hydration pack with a bit of room for extra bits and pieces. I usually keep any snacks or odds and ends that I need to fit somewhere. And just on the front I keep a one-person first aid kit. I've got some Panadol, Nurofen, band-aids, bandages, alcohol wipes, pretty much anything you need in case of an emergency. And that just stays right in the front pocket here. That way if I come off my bike, I need to get it out and I can't get back to my bike, I've got it on me. People can see it, and that way it's easily accessible when I need it in an emergency. So that's everything I take all packed back on the bike. You'll notice the distinct lack of a tail box or a bag on the back rack. I try and keep everything as low down and as far forward as I can, because I find with too much weight over the back wheel you end up just lifting the wheel. With the weight down low and forward, the handling's a lot better. And with a big bag on the back, I find that it detracts from the actual ride. And the whole reason I'm going on the multi-day adventures is because I'm going out there for the ride and for the adventure.